entering into the satsang, I wanted to share a unique experience happened just now in me. See, usually I sit there and they show the arati here. It doesn't like hit you so personally. Today I was sitting here, just in front of my eyes they were showing the arati. See, when I am there, first thing I slip into that super conscious mode. By the time the arati comes, already the pada puja is happening. I cannot sit quietly more than 2-3 minutes. Either I have to be in samadhi without mind or making people lose mind. Either, see, if I am in samadhi, you are saved. If I am not in samadhi, I drive you to samadhi. That's my life. Naturally, morning means I will be there sitting, and by the time Aarti comes, I am already in samadhi. I don't feel it is directly done to me. I have never felt any pada puja done directly to me. By the time I come and sit, already I have so much respect for my padakas. Actually, the moment I come and sit, first thing I bow down to my padakas. As I said, once energized, they are independent of me. Whether I live in the body or don't live in the body, they can lead you to enlightenment. They are independent deity. But a common man cannot understand that I have so much of respect and devotion for my padakas. They will say, oh, some crazy. They will try to find out what is this disorder called in psychology. So I have so much devotion for my padakas. The moment I see and bow down, I fall into samadhi. Even if I miss 2-3 minutes looking around, blessing the people or greeting the person who has come to do pada puja, that Arunagiri Yogeshwara's Dhyana Sloka is there. That's automatic bumper. Lalate Tripundri Shakita means that's it. I immediately know memory of Arunagiri Yogeshwara is too much. So I'll fall into samadhi. I'll never feel pada puja is done to me or arti is done to me. Never have the idea it is being done to me. Just like you are all sitting and doing, I am also sitting and okay, it is happening. I know it is all done to the intense presence of cosmos, the ultimate. But today just then I came and sat. I was looking around all these centers. Missed the Arunagiri Yogeshwara's Dhyana Sloka also. I have had this experience in those days when devotees call me to their houses, and when I go there, they will do a special pada puja and in their houses where literally they will put the camphor into my nose and they'll I'll slowly try to move back. I will not leave you. They will chase me and show the camphor. Today it was almost like that scene. For a moment it just hit that around the world, at least in hundreds of places, people are worshipping with so much of sincerity. By the time the second thought came, I already slipped into samadhi. There was no second thought. Just like one idea came, oh God. Because I could see the arti. Today only I saw how grand it looks in every temple when they show the huge Maharti. Because sitting there in the Garbha Mandir, I can see what is going on. But today it is too close. And usually if my padaka is there, I will put the responsibility on padaka. Okay, it is done to the padaka. What is there for me? Today now my padaka is also missing. It's not there. Padaka is considered in the Vedic tradition as Padagai Nachyar. Means an independent Devi who can liberate people without even the consent of the master. It doesn't have any concern about right or wrong about the people. It doesn't judge. Padagai Nachyar is presented as a Devi because only mother can liberate without judging. Anyhow, so Padaka is also missing. I am giving you the exact insider's information, how I was feeling. Suddenly I felt huge responsibility for a moment. Then I slipped into samadhi. After the arati is over, I was trying to settle because I have to now talk. Means share some things with you guys. Satsang has to happen. I could see very clearly that responsibility coming out as action. It's like in a river, a box flowing. It was flowing and coming out and opening. I saw what is that responsibility, how it is getting converted into action. Compassion of not compromising. That is what exactly I felt. As long as I keep that one quality, compassion of not compromising with original teaching, I can be worshipped. Just yesterday I was having a small meeting with a group of ashramites. I told them, I stopped sitting with ashramites. Yesterday one of my disciples gave me a letter. You made me go through all my low moods and problems by myself. You did not stand by me. You did not support me. You thought I am a stable, strong person. You did not support me to go through that. Understand, me not showing any love, showing any sympathy, not showing any support is my ultimate uncompromised compassion. If I show any support when you go through mood swings, if I show any concern, over. You will be forever a child. Never you will break free. Even I was thinking, no, I should be little more socially compassionate, that socially loving. But now I am very clear. I cannot even think in that line. I just have to be a Trishul of Kalabhairava. That is my compassion. That is the ultimate compassion. Sword of Karuppar, Trishul of Kalabhairava. Uncompromising compassion makes you worthy of worship. I wanted all of you to note down this in your book of heart. Uncompromised compassion makes you worthy of worship. All of you imbibe this uncompromised compassion. Means don't compromise with your compassion. Don't just replace it with the pseudo love. This very pseudo love is very easy to practice because society immediately appreciates you. If you show the love, a concern, a hug, a sympathy in your eyes, immediately society recognizes, what a great saint, what a great master, what a loving personality. Shiva can be recognized as loving only by Sati, who has gone beyond Daksha's rules, society's rules. A person who is still stuck with the rules of Daksha, with the rules of society, can never understand Shiva's compassion. There is no further happening, not much growth or transformation. Breakthrough in the quality of consciousness never happens by the social compassion or pseudo love. Breakthrough in consciousness happens in disciples only when the uncompromised compassion is practiced. Yesterday I received a Twitter from one ex-brahmachari in the ashram. He was here thrown out because of indiscipline reasons, did not withstand this training, and such an unproductive dullhead. Even the last hour department does not want to entertain him. Anyhow, he withstood here for 1.5 years, left. Now he is sending me the Twitter, Swamiji, your training has made me evolve so much. Whichever company I am going, I am getting highly paid, all compliments and best job. Everybody is floored by my perfection and thinking speed and performance. You turned a stone into diamond. This is my rejected piece. Not even rejected piece. In the explosion, the piece which has jumped out of the scene, that piece is considered as a diamond in outside society. It is true. Anyhow, I did not send any reply to that guy because even after leaving, he did not change, transform much. Recently, he was teasing one of our brahmachari. That's why I did not send him any reply. He did not know. I was sitting next to that brahmachari and the brahmachari is talking in the phone, the speaker phone. He was abusing him. So I did not reply. That is different. All I am trying to tell is, this fellow when he was here, he will curse everybody in the department and curse me, everybody. Anything which he sees, he will curse. Because we are training him. Now suddenly he realizes the value of this uncompromised compassion. How a stone can be turned into a diamond? Only by polishing, coming in contact with a dynamic diamond. Pseudo love, social compassion will never make you diamond. Whether it is my teachings, or my satsangs, or my classes, or my programs, all of them carry one quality, uncompromised compassion. Means a powerful Vajrayana. In Buddhism they say that path of diamond. If you see my compassion, it is Vajrayana, path of diamond, the purity of Shiva. See, the ash, sacred ash remains the purity of Shiva. Means what stands after everything disappears is ash. That is why that represents Shiva. Shiva is the only one which stands after everything disappears, after everything is destroyed. Whatever can be destroyed, destroy them as early as possible. Whatever can be destroyed in you, destroy them as early as possible. What stands undestroyed is Shiva. Burn whatever can be burnt. What remains is ash. That is why ash represents Shiva. If I have received your worship, I have to be waiting and sitting till you become enlightened. I cannot relax till my last disciple has realized and become enlightened. Still Buddha is sitting. Still Mahavira is sitting. Still Shankara is sitting. Forget about Ramakrishna and Ramana Maharshi. They are all juniors. Still Buddha is sitting, waiting for his last disciple to get enlightened. Understand, the moment I receive your worship, I accept your worship, the moment you give even one bay leaf, one drop of water, or one flower with respect and bowing down, now I am bound by it. Understand? It's a huge responsibility. I felt, oh God, thousands are worshipping. What a huge responsibility. I was not elated when I saw thousands worshipping. I only felt responsible. God. I just quickly fell into samadhi. That is like anesthesia. When there is too much responsibility to handle, you take anesthesia and lie down. Of course, in anesthesia nobody will do your job, but in samadhi, Kasmas will do your job. That is the only difference. If you fall into samadhi, Kasmas will do your job. When I was settling, I was thinking, what is the quality which makes person worthy of worship? This is the answer I received. This is the answer happened. Uncompromised compassion means love only the possibility of the person, push every human being around you, including you, because you are also around you only, towards the highest possibility. Push yourself to the highest possibility means high achiever. Not just in the outer world, in the inner space also. And push everybody around you to the highest possibility. Contributing to others' life spiritually and making a difference in others' life is the quality which makes you worthy of worship. Understand? Radiate this quality, then you are radiating me. I can see.
Welcome to Inner Awakening, the most powerful personal transformation retreat you could ever experience. In just 21 days, thousands are already experiencing the shortest route to constantly high energy levels, visible anti-aging, healing of chronic diseases, fulfilling relationships, and higher states of consciousness. What is the secret behind this transformation?
Kundalini means the inner potential energy. Once it is awakened, opens the different doors for the conscious experience in you. I can say which is a master key for all extraordinary spiritual experiences.
This extraordinary program is conducted personally by Paramahamsa Nityananda in the vibrant atmosphere of Nityananda Dhyanapitham Ashram. Open yourself to the benefits of Nitya Yoga and practical meditation. Experience physical and mental healing. Discover simple ways to handle life with success. Above all, enjoy individual darshan and blessings from Paramahamsa Nityananda every day. Take 21 days for yourself and carry home the transformation of a lifetime.
Akashic Readings. Does life exist on other planets? What is the truth of the Bermuda Triangle mystery? Can I find out about my past lives? The hallways of Kala Chakra hide many answers. Get answers to all these questions and more directly from the source, the Cosmic Archives. Cosmic Archives are the mystical records of all the events, words, thoughts, and actions that have ever happened in the cosmos. The time shaft can be rewound and fast-forwarded for answers that only a living incarnation can access. Now, for the first time, a living avatar who is the embodiment of the cosmos itself opens himself in a language that we can understand. Akashic Readings, downloaded from the Cosmic Archives by Nityananda. Ask and you shall be answered. Email ensharing@nityananda.org or call 918027279999 to get your questions answered live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time on Nityananda TV starting April 21st, 2012. Visit ntv.nityananda.org.
Ramana Maharshi says, if somebody is attracted to you, the only punishment for them is you make them like you. Because you are a Vairagi, means sannyasi. If somebody is attracted to you, the only way you punish them is you make them like you. Of course, that is ultimate blessing. Just like that song, it is very difficult to be my devotee. First thing, your society, family, friends, nobody will accept. You have to listen to a spiritual satsang as if you are secretly watching pornography. Even for pornography, they may not object so much. But watching Nityananda satsang, so much objection will be there. I took away the social recognition which was around me to train my disciples strongly. Because there are thousands of fellows without even able to look in whether they are seeking is really seeking or it is just going with the social recognition which I was having. Now all the fellows who left, they were around me because I am a socially big guy, not spiritual master. They were eyeing on either my name and fame or wealth or so many other things around me. They were not eyeing on me itself. Now when all those things left, I can see very clearly. who is following me, who really wanted me from the beginning. Ramakrishna says very beautifully, one eagle was carrying a fish and flying. Thousands of crows were around that eagle trying to attack that eagle to catch that fish. That eagle tried to fly this way, that way, that way. The crows are chasing him, shouting, ka, ka, ka. They were flying, chasing the eagle. Finally, the eagle has thrown the fish, went and sat in a tree silently. The eagle saw, oh God, because all the crows are now behind the fish, running around me, ka, ka. Now I know. They were not running around me, for this name and fame, and so many other social paraphernalia. When all that is lost, when I am free now, I could understand all the crows went away. It is not that easy to be my devotee. I will never think of 1,000 sacrifices you did. I will only look at one or two patterns you are holding. There's a beautiful story. One old lady was having one cow and selling the milk she was living. One day, she's a great devotee of Krishna. She invited Krishna to her house. Krishna went and blessed her. Best thing is going to happen for you. And he came away. Next day, that cow died. At the same time, another incident happened. One greedy Pandit came and put one tulsi leaf at the feet of Krishna and asked, I want wealth. Krishna also said, all right, whatever you asked will happen. That Pandit got huge wealth and he became more egoistic and greedy. Narada sees both and asks Krishna, what is going on? There that poor old lady, you killed her cow also, only cow she had, and here for this fellow you gave so much wealth. I don't understand. Krishna says, that is why you are Narada, I am Krishna. With the devotee, she lost all her patterns except her attachment to the cow. Now it is time for me to liberate her from that one attachment. The moment she is free, she will be enlightened. With this guy, he is never going to get out of his greed and ego. So I gave him more wealth to be in that suffering for more and more births. So I treat my devotees like how Krishna treated that old lady. I look at the 1 or 2 engrams you have, never the growth you made. That is what I call uncompromised compassion. I tell you, even if people around you, society around you, does not appreciate what you are doing, have patience, go on infusing spiritual truths in their life by your actions and uncompromised compassion, constantly, untiringly, with tremendous inspiration and without any boredom, go on radiating this uncompromised compassion with the people whom you live. Appreciate the possibility of every person, inspire, encourage continuously every individual towards his or her possibility. Go on inspiring every individual to be a high achiever. Inspire yourself constantly to be a high achiever without any goal. That is the beauty. The goal will be constantly expanded. Go on. Inspire yourself to be a high achiever. Inspire others to be high achiever.
The Sacred Secrets of Southeast Asia, revealed by a living incarnation. Travel to Southeast Asia with Paramahamsa Nityananda between May 9th, 2012 to May 25th, 2012. Buried deep in the heart of Southeast Asia are the treasures of millennia-old spirituality that time could not destroy. In the powerful presence of the Master, these spaces come alive and reveal their sacred secrets. Paramahamsa Nityananda launches you on an exciting journey of outer and inner discovery. Visit the world's largest Hindu and Buddhist temples built by the ancestors of Paramahamsa Nityananda. Don't miss this opportunity to accompany him as he goes to Angkor Wat, Cambodia, Bali, Indonesia, Besakhi Temple, Bangkok, Thailand, Ulundanu, Tanalot Temple, Puraluhur Temple, Puratirtha Impul, Taman Ayun Temple, Malaysia, Batu Caves. Travel to Southeast Asia. Contact Rishi Nirantarananda 6012-224-2755 6014-6455-981. Email shri.nirantara@nityananda.org.
Today's sutra in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, Jnanakarma Sannyasa Yoga, 24th verse.
ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यम् ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यम् ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. This verse is the largest number repeated verse in Bhagavad Gita all over the world, because all Hindu monasteries before eating, this is said as a prayer. In all Hindu traditions, this mantra, this verse is chanted as a prayer before eating or drinking any food or water. You would have seen sadhus and brahmins pouring little water in front of their food plate and drinking that water and eating. They chant only this mantra, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Dena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina. Still I remember in Ramakrishna Mission I learned this habit of chanting this mantra before the food. When I read the meaning, I'll give you the translation. The offered butter to the Supreme in the fire of the Supreme is offered by the Supreme. Certainly the Supreme can be reached by him who is absorbed completely in action. If I have to give you the rough meaning, the offering, offered, who offers, the action of offering, everything is supreme. It is cosmos which is doing. It's like an ocean having a wave in itself and raising in itself and finally falling in itself. The wave and the reason for the wave, the place from where it raises, place where it stays and place where it falls, everything is ocean. The sacred secret from this verse is, it's a cosmos which is offered, in which it is offered, who is offering, and the action of offering. Everything is Brahman, cosmos. Once I understood that meaning and it clicked, Every day before the food, when I chant this mantra, I used to have that experience. Nature happening here as the food is entering into the nature, becoming nature, moving the nature. It is just the whole. Cosmos only is coming as food. Cosmos only is putting it into the cosmos. The cosmos only is digesting. And cosmos only is using it to radiate again into cosmos. A simple, direct, sacred secret. Understand? You are breathing. The air is from cosmos and it goes inside. Automatically it functions and keeps the life inside and continues to relate with the cosmos. Same way food. The same way every action, even information, comes from cosmos, gets into your system, makes you work, relate with the cosmos. This verse can be a technique to put you into the enlightenment immediately. This sutra is an instant technique, instant enlightenment technique. See, there are methods for gradual enlightenment, there are methods for immediate experience, sudden enlightenment. The moment it clicks, yes, whether food or the air, anything which keeps me feeling I exist, that source is from cosmos, going inside, and it is going through its own process inside itself and expressing itself. So whether the ingredient added, the experience ground, and the expression happening, all are cosmos. Please understand, ingredients added, experience of grinding, and the expression happening. Everything is cosmos. Then where am I in this picture? Who am I to claim ownership? Who am I to possess one part and claim ownership, responsibility? It is your claiming of ownership makes you tired, bored. If you claim ownership for certain action, you feel you have done it. The feeling you have done it makes you tired and feel, oh, I have done too much. Now it is time for me to lie down. What were you doing? Half an hour sitting. It is tiredness which claims ownership. It is ownership which is responsible for tiredness. Live with this one understanding. You will experience enlightenment suddenly because this sutra is a sudden enlightenment technique. Just if you understand, it can liberate you. You can become enlightened. I think more than me talking, you need to sit with this sutra, contemplating, meditating, thinking through. See all the resources for your life. What all the resources for your life? Food, water, air, light, thoughts, inspiration, emotion, excitement, love. Nothing is from you. Everything is from cosmos. It comes inside you. It functions as the cosmos wants. And it gives you the experience as cosmos wants. And it expresses as the cosmos wants. That's all. The ingredients are from cosmos. The experience of grinding is of cosmos. And the expression is of cosmos. Where are you claiming your ownership? Who are you to claim any ownership? There is nobody to claim even responsibility. Anybody who claims ownership or responsibility or trying to retain their I and mine looks fool. You are legally fool. Not just cosmically, even legally fool. Being cosmically a fool or socially a fool is tolerable, but you are legally a fool. At the most, if you feel you are a middleman, okay. It's like I say, wholesaler is giving the gold to you to sell it to the retail sale and give the money back to the wholesaler. In between, if you feel you are a middleman, at least legally you are forgivable. But suddenly you feel you are the owner who is between the chain. Suddenly the fellow feels he is the owner. Then you are a legally fool. You are not even between the chain. You try to hang on between the chain. And not only you try to hang on, you try to claim ownership also. Today, with this great sutra, which is used before eating or drinking anything in Vedanta tradition, I am going to initiate group of disciples into the hunger-free, thirst-free samyama. See, I am experimenting with a group first, then I will bring that science to all of you. See, today I am going to initiate one small group in the ashram, then I will initiate the whole ashramites team and 2012 group. Maybe after 3-4 days I will initiate the whole ashram and the 2012 group. Then I will open this process and technique to the whole, all the devotees and everybody. Because first I wanted to see, without any side effect, I know there won't be any side effect. I wanted to see how these bodies are responding for this programming, how it is happening. I'll open it to everybody. Now, all of you sit for a few minutes, just contemplating on this one verse. The source material, resource for me is cosmos. The resource is doing the experience of cosmos in me and expressing itself. Then who am I to claim responsibility or ownership? Where am I intervening? Middleman cannot claim ownership. You are only middleman at the most of your life. You can never be a owner. Close your eyes. Sit in a relaxed way. I initiate all of you with this mantra. From today, before eating, remember this mantra and this sacred secret. Resource is from cosmos. Experience is of cosmos. Expression belongs to cosmos. Then, who am I to claim responsibility or ownership for anything? Middleman cannot be owner.
Paramahamsa Nityananda, a rare living incarnation, is named among the world's 100 most spiritually influential personalities today. Paramahamsa Nityananda has been placed alongside Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, Paulo Coelho and others by Mind, Body, Spirit, the world's top esoteric magazine from Watkins, London's oldest and largest bookstore. A yogi by birth, he has been expressing his power of enlightenment since birth. He has authored more than 500 books in Tamil and English. Translations of these books are available in 26 languages in Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Gujarati, Oriya, Bengali, Marathi, French, Malay, Polish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Danish, Spanish, Russian and Chinese. He is also an exemplary speaker with over 10,000 hours of profound life solutions through his discourses. Social services such as Annadan, free medical care, free educational services with ashrams, schools, temples, hospitals established in more than 140 places around the world, offering exceptional services. A powerful spiritual healer who has healed millions of people of diseases from migraine to cancer. A Kriya Yogi who has formulated Kriyas for physical health and mental well-being, benefiting thousands. A living master who offers practical solutions for our everyday problems. He is the founder and spiritual head of Nityananda Dhyanapeetham. a spiritual powerhouse who has revived the sacred Vedic tradition by establishing Vedic temples in places like Los Angeles, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Ohio, Oklahoma, Phoenix, St. Louis, Malaysia, Brazil, Paris, Guadeloupe, Dallas, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, Calgary, Vancouver, Singapore, and places in India like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Tiruvannamalai. A spiritual guru for 10 million followers, an incarnation who transmits the highest spiritual energy through initiation, a contemporary yogi who has revived the Vedic science of yoga worldwide through thousands of yoga centers, an adept in Ashtamahasiddhis, mystical yogic powers, who has effortlessly awakened the Kundalini of thousands and graced them with spiritual powers, a dynamic young guru who is an inspiration for thousands of youngsters, India's most watched spiritual guru online, a beacon of spiritual light who has triumphed over the forces of religious terrorism and political persecution. Paramahamsa Nityananda is an eternal Kalpataru, blessing the world with the boons of material abundance and spiritual enlightenment.
स्वागतम् आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ध्यानलोकप्रदीपकं वन्दे शान्तमयं बन्धं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम् आनन्दगन्धसञ्चारं सर्वोपाधिविनिर्मुक्तं वन्दे ज्ञानालयं नाथं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्.
Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share, and explode in eternal bliss. Nityananda.